Thank you, Chairman. I'm honored to be in this new capacity. I think this is I believe that many of the issues we're going to address in the subcommittee are of great importance to my state, to the state of Florida, but actually to the country, and I look forward to working with you on it. Just as a point of just to highlight the importance of what the work we're going to be about here is that, commercial and recreational fishermen, of which I consider myself one, the recreational fishermen, are a vital component of our national economy and a critical component of Florida's economy. In 2011 alone, commercial seafood industry supported approximately 1.2 million full and part-time jobs in the United States. And in the same year, there were 11 million recreational saltwater fishermen who helped support over 450,000 jobs and generated over $70 billion in sales. In my state alone, recreational saltwater fishing has an economic impact of $5.7 billion, supporting more than 54,000 jobs. Our commercial saltwater fishing provides more than 100,000 jobs in Florida. This industry is not just a job creator, it helps drive our thriving tourism business, one of the top industries in Florida. However, this is an industry that faces many challenges, and as you'll hear from the witnesses today, some of these challenges are uniquely regional. However, there are common needs among all of our nation's fisheries, and I believe that there's one fundamental need that requires immediate attention by both stakeholders, the NOAA, and members of Congress. And that's the need to increase the frequency, the accuracy, and the validity of the science that we use as the basis for every single fishery management decision in Florida, in the Gulf, in the South Atlantic, and all across our nation's coastlines. This data collection starts first with benchmark stock assessments, but having up-to-date information on the status of a stock, by having up-to-date information on the status of a stock, we can avoid conservative quotas that limit fishing trips for both commercial and recreational fishermen. In May of this year, we expect to have the first stock assessment in over 5 years for the red snapper fishery in the Gulf of Mexico. And many anticipate this assessment is going to show a healthier and larger fishery. I hope so. However, as dictated by the Magnuson-Stevens Act, our Fishery Management Council in the Gulf could not wait for this assessment to manage their fishery. In fact, they've been forced to make difficult decisions regarding the length of the federal season for the red snapper fishery, despite the lack of up-to-date information on the status of the stock. We're seeing firsthand in the Gulf how this lack of data has significant implications for fisheries management. Louisiana and Florida, for the first time in a long time, are moving forward with state seasons that do not match the short 27-day federal season. And these states are doing so out of sheer frustration with the federal management process. Fishermen are seeing more and more red snapper every day as the federal season becomes shorter and shorter. And while a shorter season is largely the result of our fishermen catching bigger fish, our management decisions are being based on old data that does not accurately reflect the health of the stock. From the testimony we're going to hear today, it sounds like our friends in the Atlantic are experiencing similar difficulties. And I believe we are only touching the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended, on how the lack of data in the Gulf is going to impact not only our fishermen, but the fisheries themselves, as we're confronted with mismatched regional management with multiple conflicting authorities. Today, I hope to hear from NOAA how they're addressing this infrequency and overall inadequacy of the data that drives our management system. And I'd also like to hear from each of the representatives from the regional commissions what they see as the data gaps that need to be filled. Finally, I'd like to have a better understanding as to some alternative management plans, such as what exists for the summer flounder in the Atlantic. While many of the specific issues we're reviewing today are regional issues, it does not mean that we cannot draw on the lessons learned as we examine management of our fisheries nationwide. I may have to step out for a previously scheduled engagement before our second panel is able to testify, but I have read their testimony and have some questions for the record. But with that, Chairman, I want to thank you for holding this hearing, and I look forward to the testimony.